Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers. Welcome to the daily cricket show. This on a Sunday. Well, on this Sunday cricket show, I have three matches to cover. So probably not probably being able to wouldn't be able to go into the nitty gritties, but definitely I will look at the salient features of these three matches. So just first doing the summary. The first match that we'll be looking at is between New Zealand and England, where England were solidly placed, one could say, especially in the quest to actually go and square the series. They were leading by 231 runs in the second innings with 7 wickets intact. As far as over there, that is on day 3, the New Zealand tail wagged in a very merry manner. Tim Southee getting his 50 after quite a long time, and Trent Boult and Neil Wagner frustrating England and whittling down the lead. I mean, they really probably England would have thought that once they got the wicket of Southee, that probably they could get a substantial or a probably handy lead, but it was not to be because Trent Boult and Neil Wagner delayed it by taking New Zealand to 278, and in the end the lead was a very paltry one. It was just 29 runs in the lead. Well, England batted very well. Yeah, so Stuart Broad, after quite a long time, probably in the span of 2 years, getting his 5-wicket haul, he got 6 wickets for 54, 4 wickets to Anderson. So once again, it has been this whole all the 20 wickets that have fallen till today has all gone to the opening bowlers: Trent Boult and Tim Southee from New Zealand, Anderson and Broad from England. And England in their second dig, 29 runs ahead. Some good innings coming from Alistair Cook failed with the bat, but Mark Stoneman with 60 and James Vince with a very attractive innings of 76 laced with 10 boundaries took England to 202 for 3. Joe Root and Mallon undefeated towards the end. So I'll be talking about that game. As far as South Africa and Australia are concerned, I can very clearly say with 2 days to go, South Africa are leading by 401 runs, and today South Africa deciding not to enforce the follow on and take a massive 267 runs lead and play there, and they made 134 for 3 at stumps. And also I could say South Africa, as I said, since 1970 has never won against Australia in South Africa, and this is going to be a proud moment for them because it has been a long time, almost like 48 years, that South Africa has never beaten Australia at home. And this is the time, I would say, everything is ripe right now. Australia are totally crippled right now, and South Africa are leading by 401 runs. Also the pitch at the Wanderers in Johannesburg is doing some tricks as well. The ball is raining off from a good length spot, and also we are seeing that there is some turn as well for the spinners. So in Australia has a really hard task ahead coming into the 4th day of saving this test match. Well, other than that, the match that happened today, the first T20 of the series which was played, was a very eventful one. West Indies did everything wrong. Their bowling went wrong, their batting went wrong, their fielding was horrible, and that enabled Pakistan to put their joint highest T20 total of 203 for 5 on the board. The highest scorer being Hussain Talat, who was also the man of the match on his T20 debut as well, run out on 41. And then Pakistan batsman went at a sort of a really like a firecracker in the last 10 balls, and 41 runs were slammed of the West Indian bowlers. And always one knew that it was always going to be difficult, but one never thought that West Indies would succumb to Pakistan in such a manner, as they lost the match by a huge margin of 143 runs at the National Stadium in Karachi, which was seeing international cricket after a gap of 9 years. And West Indies were bowled out for just 60 runs, and it was a very pathetic performance from the West Indies, one thought. and one thought that they were not a real match to this very strong Pakistan cricket team, also playing at home. And as you know, West Indies are not at full strength at all. We all know that. So that is it. So these are the three things that I'm. And also on a lighter note, I would have to say that David Warner and Stephen Smith are going to appeal to see whether they can get their. I mean, they have not only been banned for 1 year from international cricket, also from local cricket in Australia, and that is something they probably want to question right now. They probably are planning to actually dispute that. So that will be interesting as to what really comes out. But let's start the game here on this Cricket Happening show by talking about the third day's play in the match between England and New Zealand. So New Zealand actually started on their overnight score with Tim Southee in the middle along with BJ Watling. But what a delivery from Anderson, a pearl of a delivery. Pitching roundabout, I would say, for BJ Watling. BJ Watling, as you know, he's a very compact player, but what a delivery. Starting off on the leg stump, almost on the middle and leg stump, and veering towards the off stump and knocking his off stump away. And BJ Watling was the first victim of the morning. Clean bowled by James Anderson for 85 with 11 fours and 1 6. After that, Tim Southee was indulging himself. He hit one very good 6 as well. And Tim Southee is someone who likes to really play his strokes. He really stays there and hits the ball, and at certain times even advances down the wicket. So Tim Southee was doing his I would say his pyrotechnics there with the English bowlers. Sodhi, on the other hand, was an early victim. Stuart Broad got him to nick one to Barristow behind the stumps for 1. And Tim Southee realized when Neil Wagner came out that it's best for Tim Southee to really swing his bat and get as many runs as possible. And that's what he precisely did, as he went on to get a 50 after quite a long time in Test cricket. His score was 50 of 48 deliveries, 8 fours and 1 6, before Anderson actually got a ball, a straighter delivery with Tim Southee. It was a case of you miss, I hit, and that's what precisely happened. And Anderson ripped open his middle stump. After that, now probably thought at 239 for 9, England would have thought that they are probably going to get sort of a handy lead here, but everything was really crashed. All those hopes really crashed with a 9th wicket stand from the final wicket between Trent Boult and Neil Wagner, adding pretty useful runs at that, because what they did is they whittled down the lead. In fact, they added 39 runs to the good. Trent Boult was having an approach where he was actually leaving the crease, sometimes moving towards the offside, sometimes giving room outside the stumps and trying to slam the bowlers Stuart Broad and James Anderson. And also Neil Wagner hit a very good 6. He actually hooked him. He took the splice of the bat and sailed into the spectators there. And Neil Wagner was also doing well, and it was really getting very frustrating for the English bowlers. And then finally, it was Trent Boult's wicket was taken by Broad for 16 with 1 boundary, and Mallon actually held the catch on the fence of the bowling of Broad. Neil Wagner remained not out on 24 with 2 fours and 1 6. And the New Zealand innings, probably England would have given more runs than they would have, because the New Zealand innings came to a halt at 278. Thus England could eke out only a 29 runs lead. But look at the bowling figures. Stuart Broad, after a long time, getting into the 5-wicket bag, 22.3 overs, 5 maidens, 54 runs, and he picked up a 6 wickets for 54. The other wicket taker being James Anderson, 24 overs, 5 maidens, 76 runs and 4 wickets for James Anderson. Mark Wood, none for 69. I'm not going to go into that. And let's have a look at the England card now, because after the 29-run lead, England started their reply with that 29-run lead that they got. and they were into instant trouble. But Alistair Cook definitely played some confident strokes. One was a nice bunt through the offside, and then Cook also hit one, flicked one through the square leg region. But Trent Boult, as I said, has been troubling Alistair Cook. Alistair Cook has always been having this fallibility against the left arm pace and swing bowlers. We have seen that in the past. Mohammad Amir of Pakistan has troubled him. Trent Boult has troubled him. Saudi also to a certain extent, but basically Trent Boult was the man who has always been troubling Alistair Cook, and he was the man who picked up the wicket of Alistair Cook when he forced them to edge one to Watling for 14. So an early breakthrough was provided by Trent Boult. After that, one saw that Mark Stoneman definitely living a charmed life. He was dropped twice. And James Vince, oh, what a player James Vince is. I mean, James Vince is such an attractive player to watch. I mean, one of the strokes that he played was a flowing cover drive. And probably one could say that after the former cricket commentator David Garr, if at all England has a real graceful player, to a certain extent Kevin Peterson to me was very graceful, but now it's James Vince. I mean, James Vince was really flowing in his strokes. The way he was hitting the ball through the offside was a real treat to watch. How he used to lean into the ball and caress it past the offside fielders. It was tremendously done, and Vince was looking pretty good. He was stroking the ball pretty well. At the other end, Mark Stoneman was also growing in confidence, but Mark Stoneman was much sedate than James Vince, where he was taking his time, he was biding his time in the crease, and he was really looking out for the loosest of opportunities to score off. But whenever he got an opportunity, he never failed, and this partnership really grew in proportion. From 24 for 1, England recovered very well to 147. So it was a 120 odd run partnership that happened, and finally it was Stoneman, as I said, definitely survived. He survived 2 chances, but finally his wicket was taken by Tim Southee. Tim Southee actually getting him caught behind by Watling for 60 with 6 boundaries. But Stoneman definitely was not a very convincing innings, I thought. But James Vince was utterly convincing. He played wonderfully well for his 76, but just he lost his wicket probably 1 hour before stumps when he was caught by Taylor, the bowling of Boult, for 76 with 10 attractively timed boundaries. And Joe Root, and then after that England closed the day at 202 for 3, 231 runs ahead. Joe Root was not out on 30 with 2 boundaries, and David Mallon was not out on 19 with 2 boundaries, who would be actually taking the England innings forward today. That's on the 4th day. The bowling, 2 wickets for 38 for Boult, and Tim Southee had 1 for 42. Well, dear fans, from here, as I said, time is a real constraint on this cricket show, and now let's get on to the South African-Australia game. As far as Australia were concerned, they started on their overnight score, and they could not do much. They were 221 all out, thanks to the efforts of Tim Paine. It was a sort of a gutsy performance from Tim Paine. He was hit on the thumb. He was also hit on his midriff as well, but he continued with the pain. And Tim Paine, the captain, contributing 62 with 7 fours and 2 sixes. Cummins got his maiden 50 in Test cricket, which was good to see, as he clubbed 50 with 6 fours and 1 6. Nathan Lyon was out for 8, Sayers for naught. Hazelwood was not out on 1. 221 all out for the Aussies, and one was waiting whether South Africa would probably go in and force the follow on, but nothing of that sort happened. Even though the South Africans were 267 runs ahead, they decided that they would play on in the second innings. As far as the bowling was concerned, the wickets, the Australian wickets were shared by Vernon Philander with 3 for 30, 3 for 53 for Rabada, 3 for 92 for Keshav Maharaj, and 1 for Moni Morkel. Moni Morkel was the missing link today. On his final test match, it was something sad that he had to pull out. He could not bowl, and he was back into the dressing room. Well, as far as South Africa were concerned, they were on a cushion of a 267 runs lead, and that really allowed the freedom for both Aidan Markram and Dean Elgar to play the strokes. But Cummins actually picked up the wicket of Markram, by getting him smartly caught by Hanscom in the slips. He was gone for 37 with 4 boundaries. After that, Dean Elgar was joined in by Hashim Amla. Hashim Amla pushed towards 16 with 1 boundary before Nathan Lyon got a ball, which I thought it was a very good, good sort of a nice setup there. They had a short backward square leg in for Hashim Amla, and Nathan Lyon, the run-arm spinner, got a ball which was actually drifting down the leg side. Hashim Amla trying to turn that, put it in the air, and Mitchell Marsh took the catch at short backward square leg. So he was gone for 16 with 1 boundary, and A.B. de Villiers received a sort of a real peach of a delivery. It's not something that de Villiers could have done nothing. It was a real ripper from Cummins as he got the ball to bounce, and it bounced in such a fashion that A.B. de Villiers was really surprised as the ball actually rose onto him, and very easily Tim Payne took the catch, and that was a big wicket for the Aussies, one reckons. But as I said, it was a wicket which probably no other batsman could have survived, and Cummins really produced. As I said, this pitch is not looking good. The pitch is really deteriorating fast right now, and I think for South Africa to for Australia to survive on this Wanderers Johannesburg pitch is going to be unlikely, according to me. I'm definitely looking, I would probably say that the South Africans are absolute favourites to win a test series after the year 1970, after a gap of 48 years. Elgar at stumps was not out on 39 with 6 boundaries. Du Plessis walked into some form finally, not out on 34 with 6 boundaries, the captain of the South African team. 134 for 3. As I said, South Africa currently are 401 runs ahead right now, and one knows it's going to be a tall order. With also looking at the way the pitch is playing, I think for Australia to come out of jail is going to take only a miracle, according to me. Nathan Lyon had 1 wicket, Patrick Cummins had 2 wickets, so that was the match situation. Now let's head off to Pakistan in the National Stadium in Karachi, which was seeing cricket after a gap of 9 years. International cricket. This was the first T20 international which was being played between the West Indies and Pakistan. And Pakistan batted first, and they got off to a good start. I mean, Fakhar Zaman was good. Definitely everyone contributed. They had 2 debutants today, Hussain Talat and Asif Ali on the Pakistan side, and Veersamy Permaul and Kimo Paul making their T20 debut for the West Indian side. So Pakistan batted first, and they put on 203 for 5 on the board. Fakhar Zaman's contribution, he made a very stroke-filled 39 of 24 deliveries, 6 fours and 1 6. Babar Azam was out for 17 of 13 deliveries with 3 fours. Hussain Talat was very impressive on his T20 debut. In fact, he was the highest scorer, making 41 of 37 deliveries with 2 fours and 1 6, and unfortunately, he was run out. Sarfraz Ahmed contributed 38 of 22, 4 fours and 1 6. But it was Asif Ali failed with the bat. It was a clean ball by Kimo Paul for 1. But it was some electrifying batting coming at the end from Shoaib Malik in particular and Fahim Ashraf, as they slammed 41 runs of the last 10 balls in the death overs to actually perch Pakistan on 203 for 5. This is the joint highest total by Pakistan in T20s. Shoaib Malik was not out on 37 of 14 balls. He blitzed 37 of 14 balls with 4 fours and 2 sixes. He was not out. Fahim Ashraf had not out 16 of 9 deliveries, 1 4 and 1 6 in that knock. 203 for 5 was what Pakistan put on the board. Looking at the West Indian bowling, not only the West Indian bowling, the West Indian fielding also wilted under the pressure. 4 overs, none for 37 for Badri. Kimo Paul, 4 overs, 1 for 26. I thought he did a decent job. 1 for 43 for Emrit, none for 42 for Keswick Williams, and Emrit were the ones who really had a lot of runs taken in the final bend. Veersamy Permaul could not bowl, none for 8. Samuels, none for 1. 3 overs, 1 for 34 for Powell. West Indies, as I said, were bowled out for 60. They had no answer. Chadwick Walton started off the innings in a real blaze as he thumped Mohammad Nawaz into the upper territory for a 6 to start off proceedings. But after that, Chadwick Walton, the next ball was a goner. I mean, the same over, he was a goner for 6. Fletcher out for naught. Samuels was the highest scorer, 18 of 19 deliveries, 3 fours. Jason Mohammed, the captain, failed with the bat out for naught. Mohammad Amir provided them some quick wickets as he picked up the wicket of Andre Fletcher and Jason Mohammed for naught. Dinesh Ramadan failed with the bat with naught. He didn't have a good Pakistan Super League as well, as we know. Roman Powell was a victim of Shadab Khan. First it was the Pacers and then it was the spinners. Ryan Amrit was 11 with 1-6. Keswick Williams for naught. Badri for 7. Kimo Paul was not out on 10. And the West Indies innings ground to a halt at 60. And I thought it was a very pathetic performance from the West Indies cricket team. Even though they were not a real match, being not at full strength, but one did not expect them to cave in so meekly. But let's look at the bowling from the Pakistan point of view. Mohammad Nawaz, 4 overs, 2 for 19. Mohammad Amir, 2 overs, 2 for 3. Hassan Ali bowled 1 over, 1 maiden, none for 1 wicket for none. Fahim Ashraf, 1 over for 9. Shadab Khan, 3 overs, 1 for 13. Malik had 2 overs, 2 for 13. And Hussein Talat with his 41 on his T20 debut was named man of the match. But it was very good to see. A huge crowd had come in at the National Stadium in Karachi to watch this match. And it was definitely, they had fireworks from their home team. And West Indies need to do much better in their remaining exchanges. And as just before I leave this cricket show, I would like to say David Warner and Stephen Smith have appealed. They probably are going to appeal against lessening their ban, probably wanting an opportunity to play domestic cricket so that they can once again be considered for selection in the team once their ban is over. Well, dear fans and subscribers, that's about it as far as today's cricket show goes. This is your host Ram signing off for the day. Thank you.